Hi everybody, so today I've got the brand new cream from Pat McGrath. So this one is promising to give me a fabulous glow from the very first swipe. So let's try this on and you can see what you think. And also I've picked up two of the new Charlotte Tilbury Rock and Kohl pencils. These are reformulated, but also we have new shades. And I've picked up two of those new shades, which are the blue and the green. Predictably, if you know me. I've got quite a few that I can compare these to, and I've also done a longevity test on these yesterday, so I can show you what I think of them compared with the best eyeliners for longevity. I'll be doing a look with both as well, using Charlotte's new Beautyverse palette, so the blue with the blue and the green with the green. So lots of things to show you today. Can't wait to get started with these. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 48. I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who loves makeup and beauty. And here on my channel, I show you the new releases, my favourite looks, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this, please do subscribe to my channel. It's ever so helpful, and I get lots of people watching and not subscribing. So if you could, please do that. It would really help my channel ever so much. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back. I do appreciate being here ever so much. And my skin tone for matching up with these shades, I've got fair to light skin with predominantly cool undertones that lean a little bit neutral, and I've got blue eyes. Anyway, that's enough about me. Let's get straight into this video. So obviously I've got a completely blank face, so I'm starting with this cream from Pat McGrath. So it came in this rather pretty box. Very Pat McGrath, isn't it? So this is the Divine Skin Rose 001 Hydrating Glow Cream. So this one has vitamin C and E and rose and fig complex. A hydrating glow cream, which is a luxe hydrating formula, which, as I said, promises results from the very first swipe. I have actually tested this once so far, which is why it looks like it's been used. This one is 50 millilitres and it cost me a whopping £74, so very, very expensive cream. Is it as good as Tatcha is what I'm asking myself, because that's pretty much what I pay for Tatcha creams. So obviously I can't give you a complete review on this. This is day 2 of me using it. So as for how I think it works with all of my products and how my skin reacts to it over time, that will be more like my end of May review, I would have thought, because I need that much time to tell you. But you can see if it's given me that glow and how it sits today underneath my makeup. And let me just give you a tiny spoiler. It impressed me yesterday. But I'll tell you straight away, the biggest disappointment, it doesn't smell of rose. I love rose scented cream, so when I saw that this was called Rose, I thought it would smell of rose, but it's literally fragrance free, which might be music to your ears, but for me personally, I do love a fragrance in my skincare, so that was an instant disappointment. But aside from that, let's put it on my face. I'm using it as a primer, which is how I'll primarily use this cream over the coming months. So this is going on top of all of my skincare. So the last thing I've put on is my SPF, and this is now going to be my primer, then my makeup. But I will actually go straight in with the Pat McGrath, is it the Unreal? No, sorry, the Sublime Perfection. I was going to say Unreal Skin, wrong brand. Anyway, I'm going to try the two of these together. So let's start with this, and it does come with this little spatula. So I can tell you straight away, this is a very lightweight cream. It is not a thick cream. If I just put some on my hand, actually, it might be a better way to show you that. It's very, very light. I do love the feel of a thick cream, but as the months get warmer, I do need a much lighter cream. So you can see that this one is very light. It's got a lovely refreshing feel to it. It's got almost quite watery, a bit like the water cream from Tatcha, actually. It is very silky soft and very refreshing. My skin absolutely loves it. It doesn't leave that thick layer, but it gives you that instant hydration boost. And it does, without a doubt, give you that instant glow. If you look at where I've got it here, ignore the fact that my skin is going red. It always does that when I apply cream. So just apply a bit more now to the forehead. I'm putting this video out on Easter Sunday, so if you celebrate Easter, just wanted to wish you all a happy Easter and hope you're all having lots of chocolate treats. My husband got me a special handmade egg which has got real jam cream and fresh cream in it with chocolate, so I can't wait to have a piece of that after I've finished filming this. with my coffee, so I can't wait. What did you get for Easter? What's your favourite? I'd love to hear. So there is my full layer. Look at the glow I'm getting. Now obviously a lot of that is to do with the fact that you get a tacky finish of all creams, but I do think this gives me an extra glow and my skin just feels beautiful. It really is a gorgeous silky soft feel. So whether this is going to do any of the things it promises over time, like I said, I can only tell you that. Well, I can tell you how I'm getting on with it, because in all honesty, telling you about how good creams are is a little bit tricky, because I know that I already use excellent creams, so when I introduce a new one, I don't really expect better results. But the best way to say if it's a good cream is to say if my skin started getting less healthy, because I know my skincare at the moment gives me the best skin I can get anyway. So if I switch to this, will I need to switch back to my other creams, or will it match up? So that's the best way for me to tell you if it's a good cream, rather than whether it's given me results, because it won't give me results. It will probably do the opposite if it's not as good, if you know what I mean. So going in now with the Pat McGrath foundation, the full title being the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. So both in the Skin Fetish range, so hopefully these should work together. And yesterday they did, so hopefully is probably definitely, but I want to show you. And this one is in the shade Light 2, which is a very light shade on me actually. Now if you don't know this formula, this is a very watery formula as well. It's not a thick cream by any means, which means I need to use my Refa foundation brush, the LCO3, which for me is the best one. And what I noticed yesterday is, because I've already got quite a glowy hydrated base, I need to make sure that I don't put too much of this on, so quite a thin base. So I would really pair these two together if you're going for light coverage with this foundation, not the real full coverage, or light to medium anyway. But when you just apply a very light layer like that, look how that just instantly sits on top of it beautifully. But what I found yesterday is when I tried to build it up a bit, it did start to, it stopped mixing as nicely. So that would be my only thing, is if you're using that glow cream underneath, then you probably need to go for a lighter layer, or spend a very long time letting layers dry down. I don't think a lot of us have the time to do that really, do we? You can see there, just pretty much instantly my skin's absorbed it and it just sits beautifully. This is one of the most popular foundations, I believe, from hearing from all of you. I know a lot of you love this one. It does give a lovely lasting sort of almost natural finish, and it's like putting on skincare, it really is. So combining it with this glow cream is quite a treat for the skin. It gives you an all over healthy glow. Just getting around the eyebrows using a discontinued brush really, BO1 from Refa, but if you do have it, it's so good for this. So that is how all of that is looking. Look how shiny my skin is. It does need a lot of powdering. That's one thing I would say, is if you're going to use this underneath with all your skincare, and when I say all my skincare, today my skincare was milky toner, vitamin C, SPF, that's it. No serums, no foundations. Obviously the vitamin C is a serum, but I would normally add another serum or another moisturiser before the SPF. And I've started cutting that one out now as we're moving into the warmer weather. My skin doesn't seem to need it. So a hydrating primer plus a hydrating foundation is quite a lot. And it will give you a fairly tacky finish. So you will need to powder down unless you love a very tacky finish. So I think that you can't really avoid that if you have this as your layer. You could always skip one of the skincare items I've mentioned, but that's how I like to do my skincare every day. So there we go. What do you think? I know I look strange without concealer and everything else. So what I'll do now is I'll go off camera, add all of that. You can see how my skin looks then when it's powdered down and with all my other products on, and then we can look at the Charlotte Tilbury liners. I've done the rest of my makeup and I've powdered, and now there is no stickiness whatsoever. But I really do love the way that my skin feels. I love the way that it looks, and I love the fact that I've got a bit of a natural glow coming through. So very, very happy with it so far. So thumbs up to the Pat McGrath Divine Skin. What's it called again? Rose Hydrating Glow Cream. Anyway, so now let's move on to the Charlotte Tilbury new eyeliners. So I filmed with these yesterday using the green. So before I do anything, I'll play the clip of me trying on the green 9-pan from Charlotte Tilbury in these beautifying eye trends, I think they're called. Yeah, that's these. And you can see how the green liner looked in that look. So here's that clip.
You're something beautiful, electric chemical. You take my breath away, feel my emotions push and pull. Shooting stars in your eyes, you're bringing me to life. Love how you say my name, you make it feel like summertime. When you reach out your hand, I find myself again. Electric wonderland, no, I just can't get enough. You feel like magic. Just one touch, my God, I gotta have it.
So what is new about these? These are an enhanced Couture formula, mesmerising new shades, a new easy to use smudger tip, just like the one we get with the Victoria Beckham, reformulated ultra creamy, high pigment Couture eyeliner pencils with a waterproof, smudge proof formula. 4 new shades, and they've brought back 2 popular shades, which is Barbarella Brown and Bedroom Black. I've already got both of those, so I didn't buy them. I mean, I suppose I could have got them for review purposes to compare them, but I've got lots of blues and lots of greens, so I can compare the formula that way. So certainly I know if I love this formula, when I run out of my Barbarella and I run out of the Bedroom Black, I can replace them. So hopefully that'll be good enough for you in this review. So there are now let me see, the new Fig Smolder, which is a deep claret, and then we have metallic shades. Fig, I think, is matte alongside with the black and the brown, and the new metallic shades are Smoky Bronze, which is a golden bronze brown, and then Hypnotic Peacock, which is the dual toned emerald green you've just seen me try on in that clip, and then Sapphire Nights, which is a dual toned bright blue, which I'll also be trying on now. So that is a metallic. So before I try it on, obviously I've got some blue eyeshadow on, but let me just do some comparisons. So I'll start with the green, seeing as I've just shown you the green, and I do have quite a few green liners, as you can imagine. If you know me, I do love my greens. So let me just swatch this. And the closest match, I think, is the Lisa Eldridge in the, is it Night Forest? Yeah, the Night Forest. So this pen from Lisa doesn't come with a smudger on the end. This is the new Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Lisa Eldridge. So there is a difference in shade, and obviously you've got the metallic finish with the Charlotte Tilbury, but they are quite close. I've got the liner here from Chanel, the Vert Lagon. This is the retractable one. This doesn't come with a smudger, it just comes with a sharpener on the end, which the Charlotte Tilbury doesn't. So let's compare that one. There is Vert Lagon. You can see that that one's got a lot more of a light, almost bluish green colour to it. I've got here the Natasha Denona. What shade is this? The Macro Tech Eye Crayon in the shade Willow. So there is Willow. That is quite similar, but we're not getting the metallic finish, but it is quite similar in shade. I've also got a Charlotte Tilbury pen here, which is a double-ended green. So this one has a metallic and a matte. The metallic is a completely different sort of olive metallic. So I'll just swatch the metallic first. Very, very creamy formula, and this is not the reformulated, this is the original. The original formula was very good from Charlotte Tilbury. And then we had the matte formula. This pen is just called Green Lights, by the way. So there's the matte from Green Lights. Again, quite similar, but not metallic. So Green Light comes with this metallic and this matte. Then I have YSL Lines Liberated. This is more of an olive shade, I'm fairly certain. This shade is called, it doesn't say on the pen, There is the lines liberated there from YSL, and this is probably the first one I've swatched that has the same level of creaminess to the new one from Charlotte, apart from Charlotte's original, which was also as creamy really in my opinion. And what else have I got? I've got one from MAC here, MAC Colour Excess Pool Shark. I know this won't be the same shade. This one is a retractable one, but let's just show you in case you've got these in your collection. There is Pool Shark, very, very different shade. And with Victoria Beckham, I don't have a green shade. I don't know if there is one, but I don't have a green shade that remotely matches this. So the only one I'm going to look at today is the green quartz. So this is a dual liner. It's not green quartz, it's sequin green, sorry. So this one has that sort of shiny finish. It's not as creamy though, it really isn't. So the creamiest one I've swatched so far is definitely Charlotte Tilbury. So here is the Victoria Beckham, but look at the shine you get from these dual formulas from Victoria Beckham. So obviously this one's metallic, nowhere near as shiny, but this is the dual finish, which I love. This is one of my most used from Victoria Beckham. I love this one. And then the last one I've got to show you is the latest one I got from Dior, which is actually a liquid liner, but because it's quite a dark green, I thought I'd swatch it next to it. So I'm actually going to swatch it underneath, because I do think they're quite close. The one from Dior is called Pearly Emerald. So there is the Dior one, and there is the Charlotte Tilbury. I think they are very similar. They both have that bit of shine, possibly a bit more from Dior. They're both waterproof. I've tested the Dior, and yesterday obviously I tested the Charlotte Tilbury. So I think that you could get one or the other with those. So the only match I'd say from any of these is the Lisa Eldridge, and that one is, and the only one that matches in creamy formula is the YSL Lines Liberated. So yesterday I tested out the longevity of these, and I can tell you that when it came to 12 hours later, I had to really try quite hard to remove it from my eyes, so it did not move from my eyes. But when I kept it on the back of my hand and compared it with some others, I got a slightly different result. So I will show you the clip of that from yesterday. So here's that clip. This is my hand after over 6 hours wear. From left to right, we have the Lisa Eldridge on the left. In the middle, we have the Victoria Beckham, and then on the right we have the Charlotte Tilbury. It is a metallic formula, the Charlotte Tilbury, but I think it is worn away a little bit more than the other two, which you can see there. But when you see my hand turn, you can see the metallic twist. So maybe it hasn't, maybe they are actually all three of them exactly the same. Now reaching the 9-hour mark, so the Charlotte Tilbury's on the right and is definitely not lasting as well as Victoria Beckham and Lisa Eldridge, but it is still there, but it doesn't have the longevity of the other two for sure. So you can see from that it didn't look like the Charlotte Tilbury had quite as much longevity. It did very well, but not quite as much. So maybe it's not quite as long lasting as the Lisa Eldridge or the Victoria Beckham. But on my eyes, 12 hours later, it was absolutely still there, top and bottom, and needed quite a bit of taking off. So I think alongside that Dior, you've got two options that are really beautiful, very similar, very waterproof and long lasting. So definitely good eyeliners. So for me, they've passed the test in that sense. I do apologise, Alfie's barking his head off in the background there. I think the thing that struck me the most yesterday was just how creamy it is. So that makes it very, very easy to smudge as well. It is a beautiful formula, really, really, really nice. So I can see me liking it actually as much as Victoria Beckham. That I can actually say that to you. So before I try the blue one, I'm just going to do a few swatch comparisons. So here it is, the blue one, and a closer look at the actual pen. I haven't even opened this one yet, so it's a bit stiff. So here it is. These need to be sharpened. And there is the smudger on the end there. So I'll show you the Victoria Beckham now so you can see the difference. I do actually have 3 Victoria Beckhams that are blue. So I'm going to compare those. So I've got, first of all, jeans. And just to show you the smudger on the end of Victoria Beckham, is identical. The design is identical. I have to say, swatching jeans, which is probably my newest one from Victoria Beckham, does feel as creamy. So there's jeans, and here is this new one from Charlotte Tilbury. Sapphire Nights. It's just a question of age with some of the ones I swatched earlier from Victoria Beckham. I think that's why I like it as much as the Victoria Beckham, because it's got similar level of creaminess, longevity, easy to smudge, lots of ticks there. I've got Electric Blueberry from Victoria Beckham, so very, very different blue, obviously. And then the third one from Victoria Beckham, I think it's Navy, or is it a sea shade? Navy Noir. Saying that, I'm sure I've got one that's called Sea something. But anyway, Navy Noir is quite similar to the Charlotte Tilbury, but a little bit deeper, but definitely still as creamy actually. So there is Navy Noir. So it's quite similar. So you almost have this, except Navy Noir isn't metallic or shiny. So we are getting that slight metallic finish, but it's not very shiny, this metallic from Charlotte. The only other one I've got is the YSL Lines Liberated. This is a blue. Again, it's just number 7. They just don't seem to have names on them. But I really enjoyed these formulas. Actually, it looks like a match. Looks like they're the same. So here is the YSL Lines Liberated. Well, maybe not a match, but it's the closest, one of the closest to this one from Charlotte. So there we go. Formula wise, I think it's very similar to YSL and Victoria Beckham, probably the closest to Victoria Beckham. The design of it, the feel of it, the wear of it, everything about it. It's almost a dupe, to be honest. They're the same. They're the same pencils. So if you like the colours and you like Victoria Beckham, I think you're going to really like these ones from Charlotte Tilbury. So now let's complete my look by trying this blue one on straight away. And I'm going to use the smudger and try to avoid using anything else. So I've kept quite a light look. I'll show you the actual shades I've used from the Beautifying Eye Trends. This one is Denim Dimensions from Charlotte Tilbury. So I went in with this as my base and my sort of transition shade in the crease and above. And then I went in with this one here in the outer section, the outer V, and the first sort of third of my lid. And then I used this white one across the first 2/3 of the lid. So very, very simple. I took this one as well slightly underneath. So that's all I've got. So it's quite light, and this is going to bring quite a lot of depth. It's a very dark blue. So one thing I would say is do go quite lightly, especially if you're going to go under as well as over. So I would just start by putting a tiny bit here and leaving it. It might look a bit off and a bit like you haven't got a straight line because it is so creamy. You can straighten that up and sort it out with a smudger. And then just bring it up for a bit of a wing there. And then tight to the lash line. Straight away, that is a beautiful shade of blue alongside this eyeshadow, isn't it? But because this has a dry down, I want to get straight in with a smudger. So now what I'm going to do is just start to take this, smudge it, but also start to slowly bring it across. So I'm just left with a tiny bit of shade. So the depth is really at the outer edge and the lighter section is coming underneath. So it's almost like a gradient. And the smudger works just like the Victoria Beckham. It's a very good smudger brush. And worn like this with these light shades, I think this works perfectly for someone with my sort of skin tone because it is such a strong colour, but it really does work very nicely. And for me, that's exactly the way I'll be wearing it. I wouldn't want to add any more to this. And also, if you picked up any of the palettes over Christmas where we had that pop of blue, like with the Givenchy, and we had it with the Mario, Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes that had that lovely blue, this would look really good with those as well. So obviously there's lots of looks it would look good with, and it looks perfect with this one here from Charlotte Tilbury. In fact, I love blue eye looks. I absolutely love them. Somebody commented the other day that it looked like I'd been playing with makeup or something. I don't know, like it looked terrible on me, but I love it. I love blue and I love greens, and even if you think it looks awful on me, I can promise you I'm going to carry on wearing them because I just love blues and greens. But for me, with my skin tone, I think this is the way to wear blues. Not too strong, keep it quite light, especially that pop of brightness there, which really helps. But I love that liner. I think it's absolutely perfect. very pleased with the shade. I love it. I really love it. And I don't have that in Victoria Beckham, which is my favourite. So I'm very, very pleased with it, and I can see this getting plenty of use when I'm going for the blue look anyway. So obviously brown is what I tend to reach for, mostly browns and blacks when I'm going for a blue look, but also maybe even mix up a pink or lilac purple look with blue, because that's something I quite like to do. So, and you can play around, you can even try blues with browns, because certainly the palette we had from Givenchy, the 9 pan, that had a blue in it with browns, and they work together so nicely. So you could play around with that as well. It's definitely something worth playing around with, but this is my favourite way to wear it, which is really going for the true blue. Anyway, I'll just do the other eye and be back to show you my final look. My final look, using it on both sides. I've got my mascara added on as well now, and I love it. It's really good, and obviously worth mentioning, this doesn't smudge, it doesn't run, it doesn't move, it stays in place, it's locked in, and it's still there 12 hours later, just like I get with Victoria Beckham. So for me, I would go with one or the other at the moment. I've only worn the two, so maybe I need to try it a bit longer to give you an absolute on that, because Victoria Beckham is my #1, but I think at the moment they're looking exactly the same. I really do. And I really like the Charlotte Tilbury formula anyway. I would say that was one of my absolute most used, was Charlotte Tilbury. Charlotte Tilbury and Victoria Beckham and my Delilah, they're the three I use pretty much. I rotate through. I do like the YSL, I do dip in and out of those. I just sort of forget them, I think, because there's not that many of them in my collection, but they were very, very good actually. And the Lisa Eldridge is very, very good. But the ones I tend to go for is Victoria Beckham and Charlotte Tilbury, and I think that that's just basically not changed. But I think this formula is creamier and ever so slightly easier to blend. I say creamier, but not much though. Very fine line, because the previous one was creamy. So just slightly better, slightly easier, and we've got the good smudger tip, which is so useful. So all in all, it's a 10 out of 10 for these. The only thing I would say though is the two I've tried are metallic, and I think it's not particularly obvious that they're metallic. Like when I swatched the dual one from Victoria Beckham, you can really see the shine and you can really see it on the eyes, but I don't really, obviously I'm wearing sparkles, but I don't really detect any sort of metallic when it's going on. So that's the only thing I would say. There was one more in the metallic, which was the bronzy brown, which I didn't pick up. So maybe that one shows up more metallic, but certainly the green and the blue, they don't particularly look metallic, so don't expect a lot in the way of shine as you might from a metallic. That's all I would say. Maybe I prefer it to have a bit more of that. If I was going for a metallic finish, I'm not really that bothered in this instance. I think for a blue look, because I tend to wear it with sparkly looks, I'm absolutely fine with the finish of this, and it works really, really nice, but it's almost like a matte to me. But anyway, so that's it from me for today. Everything I've tried today has been a success. I will continue to use the cream from Pat McGrath, and I will continue to use these liners from Charlotte when I'm wearing greens and blues or colours that work with it. And I will let you know if there's any changes in my monthly updates, but I don't think there will be with the eyeliners. Obviously the Pat McGrath cream, I need to tell you if it's starting to argue with other foundations, maybe it will, so that's something I certainly need to test out. But it's a beautiful cream. Whether it's worth the price or not, I don't know. I honestly don't know. But it is very, very, very nice. Anyway, that's it from me for today. I hope you've had a fabulous Easter weekend, or you continue to have a fabulous Easter weekend, because it's Easter Monday tomorrow, isn't it? So I hope you're having a wonderful time, and if you've enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button and hopefully the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. I would love to have you here on my channel. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so very much for being at the end of another review. I appreciate you all so very, very much, and I hope to see you all again for my next video. Take care everybody. Bye.